to address some issues before the jury is brought out. Did you want to address exhibits first?
You have the list? Okay. Yes. Okay, so the state is going to, where are they?
And I know you'll want to move exhibits in front of the jury, but I just wanted to know if there's anything we needed to address outside the jury's presence with regard to exhibits.
I don't think so. I think we've removed the exhibits that were not offered from our thumb drive, and then we're going to be moving for the admission, essentially, of all of the exhibits. I can't recall which ones haven't been moved and received, but they're checked down here. So,
are you just going to move into evidence exhibit 1, containing all of the photos that were identified and videos, audio clips, things like that?
Yes, and I think the remaining exhibits were already entered and received. So.
And a point of clarification, did you take out the photos of Heesun that we agreed on? Okay. So the one the court has is modified then?
The one the court will, well, of course,
yeah.
The one the court will have will be modified, right?
And then we'll put...
He didn't offer.
This will be off the record.
We'll put my video then, that clip on yours to go into the court?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, Your Honor, we actually wanted to, so I don't know that I will physically give the thumb drive to the court right after that, because we had actually talked to the defense. They have some exhibits that they may play. We'll put them on the same thumb drive. They'll be labeled defense exhibit, and then we'll number them as well.
Now, exhibit 3 was a separate zip drive, correct?
Correct, and I believe that Madam
I don't
Clerk
think
has
that was offered yet, according to the clerk's note.
Okay, then I will offer that as well.
Probably easier just to do all of your exhibits to make sure. So you're going to do 1 and then 3 through 18? 2 or 3?
4 and 5 have been received. 6 has been received.
If you want to do them all again, it's not a problem.
10. That one, Shallhorn, that one I gave you separately. It's the white one that has like the red cap on it or blue cap. The Kira Shallhorn diagram with the pictures embedded in it. That was just on a separate thumb drive. I didn't put it on this one. It looks like every other item has been received except 1 and 3. Is that right?
2 is the defense exhibit, so that hasn't been received.
Correct.
I think that's true, but I think it would be wise just to do a sum up of them and ask for them all to be received just to make sure.
Yep.
All right. So then we'll call the jury back in, or when we call the jury back in, you're going to move those exhibits in and then rest?
Yes.
Okay. And have you spoken with your client about whether he plans to testify or not?
Yes.
Okay. And has he made a decision?
Yes, he's going to testify, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions, Mr. Cayer, about that, because you have some rights, and I want to make sure you understand your rights. All right. Do you understand that you have a constitutional right to testify?
I do, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have a constitutional right not to testify?
I do, ma'am.
Do you understand that the decision whether or not to testify is for you to make?
Yep.
Has anyone made any threats or any promises to influence your decision?
No.
Have you discussed your decision whether or not to testify with your lawyer?
Yeah.
Have you made a decision?
As far as you talking about.
Can you please repeat the question, Your Honor? I interrupted him.
I'm going to go back a question then just to make sure. Have you discussed your decision whether or not to testify with your lawyer?
Yes.
Have you made a decision?
Yes.
What is that decision?
Testify.
All right. And Mr. Eichhoff, are you the person I should be asking additional questions
Your Honor,
regarding that?
I will be handling the direct, yes.
Okay. Have you had sufficient opportunity to thoroughly discuss this case and the decision whether or not to testify with your client, Mr. Cayer?
Your Honor, we did discuss this again this morning. We have discussed this numerous times over the course of this representation. Based on the significant amount of time that we have discussed this topic about Mr. Cayer testifying or not, I would say yes, Your Honor, we've had enough time to discuss this with Mr. Cayer.
And are you satisfied that your client, Mr. Cayer, is making the decision knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily.
Your Honor, during our lengthy discussions, we talked about the pros and cons of someone testifying in this situation. And following those conversations, Mr. Cayer was actively involved in these conversations. He asked some very, very good questions, and I truly believe that he is making that decision knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily.
All right, thank you. I do find that Mr. Cayer is making his decision to testify freely, voluntarily, and intelligently, that he understands fully the possible implications of his decision to testify based on the record that's been made here by his attorney and my questions asked to Mr. Cayer. With that, are we ready to bring the jury in?
We should put on the record that the parties do stipulate Mr. Cayer has 4 prior criminal convictions.
Okay.
4.
Is that the stipulation?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And when it comes time for Mr. Cayer to take the stand, how will that be handled? Yes. All right, any additional issues? All right, please stand for the jury. The appearances are the same as before. It just says count one. We don't have to. Please be seated. The jury is returned to the courtroom. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. We're ready to get started again. Mr. Lassay.
For admission of Exhibit 1 and Exhibits 3 through 18. I think many of 3 through 18 have already been moved and accepted, but just to be sure, we're moving for Exhibit 1 and 3 through 18. I think Exhibit 2 was a defense exhibit.
And just so the record is clear, when you say Exhibit 1, that's everything that you referenced as Exhibit 1, A-, B-, etc.
Correct. It's all the primarily photographs or diagrams that were placed before the jury using the technology in the courtroom. All of those photographs were moving for all of those subsections, A through P, of Exhibit 1.
All right. Mr. Cotton, any objection?
No.
Exhibit 1 will be received as well as Exhibit 3. I believe all the other exhibits have been received, but just in the event there was an issue with that, all of Exhibits 4 through 18 are received as well. So 1, 3 through 18.
Thank you, Your
All right.
Honor. Subject to rebuttal, the state would rest at this time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cotton or Mr. Eichhoff?
Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to call Jacob Cayer to the stand.
All right, Mr. Cayer, if you'd please come up to the witness stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now before the court, so help you God?
Absolutely.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
Jacob Cayer, J-A-C-O-B, Cayer, C-A-Y-E-R.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cayer, you may replace your mask with the face shield, as you've heard me say before. And then again, if you would move as close to the table or counter as you can and bring the microphone as close to you as possible. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Mr. Eichhoff.
Hey, Jake, obviously you know who I am, right?
Yep.
So I think the first thing to ask is, how you feeling today?
Good. Finally, see the truth can finally come out. I'm really tired because I've been up a couple days assisting with you guys. Physically and mentally and spiritually tired for years, and I think that's good to know that that's affected my face. It does look bad for demeanor-wise, but that's because of the circumstances. A little nervous, a little shaky, but other than that, let's roll. So.
But you're excited to be up there?
Yeah, I've been waiting for a long time.
Well, we're glad you're up there. Now, Jake, anytime someone testifies, this is a valid question, and so I want to just get this out of the way right away. Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
4.
You've been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
And how many of those were?
4.
Four convictions. Thank you. Well, you know why we're here. You know what we need to talk about, right?
Yep.
So I want to move right to that day. Do you remember what day that we're talking about, that everyone's been talking about since you've been here?
June 7th, 2016.
Can you, I don't think we need to go through the whole day, but I think if we start later in the afternoon, early evening, I think that's a good place to start. Would you agree?
Of that day?
Of June 7th?
I don't have any recollection of that other than when I woke up in the hospital.
Well, previous to that, I think there was some conversation about dinner with the family.
That was on the 6th.
That was on the 6th?
Yeah.
Tell me about dinner with the family on the 6th.
Me and my mom and my dad came back from up north from my grandma. Yeah. And me and my father had agreed not to discuss court matters because he's very indifferent on his views with me. And he's always been a man of his words, and he's never gone against it. And he tried to bring it up, and I didn't want to bring it up, and he got upset about that. And reacted in ways that was not normal with my father, so I ended up leaving. I ended up biking from the airport.
Let's hold off. Let's get to that, because eventually we're...
Mr. Cayer, I'm struggling to hear you, and I'm gathering that from the jury as well. Much like I asked the last witness,
Hold it.
could you raise the microphone?
Is this better?
Yeah.
Better? Good.
If it's more comfortable, I think you should
I can
press the elbows.
finish. Is this appropriate?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. So we're going to get to the bike ride in a little bit, Jake, but
Okay.
let's talk a little bit more about dinner with the family. So it didn't end the way that you wanted it to end that day with the family.
And it was really not normal. Like, my dad never gets mad over things like this. And it was, my mom was crying, and I don't like seeing my mom cry. And I took one of my because I'm bouncing around, kind of not really homeless, but I have a backpack full of essentials for moving around. I took one of them with me and got on my bike and left.
Let's hold off on the bike thing. Let's talk more about your family. Specifically, you mentioned about your mom. You don't like seeing your mom cry. Talk about your relationship with your mother.
She's the only angel that I've ever seen on this planet other than my grandma. So she's always been done everything she could. Well, both my parents are very good parents and done everything they could for not just me, but for my siblings. My mom is more of the lenient and loving side. My dad's loving too, but he's a master sergeant in the Air Force, and more black and white with him. I'm the one where he raised, forcing me to face everything. Be a man or not, own up or not. You're only as good as your word type of thing. So there's the strength there, and then my mom a little more cushioning on it. So I grew up between the two aspects. It was that good.
Yeah, and how would you classify your relationship with your mother?
Extremely good, like friend-wise, close. Could tell her anything, I guess.
Do you think there's anything else that we need to know about your relationship with your mother?
She's so important to me in my life that I'd go to the ends of the earth for her, I guess. So.
You started to talk about your relationship with your father. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I guess. My father's always been a good father, good to my mom, done everything he could for us. But he believes like I said, it's very black and white type of thing. Cops don't lie, or court system does not corrupt. If it is, it fixes itself, or something like that. Where that's not how the world works. And my views on that type of thing is then that's just incorrect, because he was raised in the military, so we don't really get along that well type of thing. Well, we get along, but it's like when it comes to viewpoints on that and how to handle stuff, or how I believe more in how the Declaration of Independence came. We didn't just get this freedom. We didn't just get this how our country worked. We had to fucking fight for it, and we had to get that out there. That's the kind of mindset that I have, where it's all things just kind of fall in line.
So it's safe to say that you and your father disagree on some things?
Yeah, but in reality, it's the same essence of how to be and how to care for and how to get to the goal on making a better world type of thing. But it's the same essence, but it's viewed differently. So that's where a lot of our butting heads comes into play.
But still safe to say that you love your father?
Yeah.
Now, you did say during that some of your discussion we just had, or your testimony, you did say a couple words that weren't appropriate. In the future, if you could just hold off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I have treads, so in emotional or big things, the stressful things like this, that kind of pops up. It's also kind of grown to be part of my language, but I'm more aware right now, focused on you and this than that. So I'll attempt to.
Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
So since we're talking about people that were here on June 6th, that you were surrounding yourself. So you said your mother and your father. You also had some interaction with some other people that night. Now I don't want to talk about the interactions quite yet, but I just want to talk about some of these people. Sabrina, you're familiar with Sabrina? Sabrina Teague?
Yep.
Can you tell me about Sabrina Teague?
She was an ex of mine from high school. You want me to kind of go into that, or?
By all means, when did you graduate from high school?
I graduated in 2009. Well, I had enough credits to graduate early. Technically, the first, what's it called? Trimester? There were specific terms for it, but it was basically the beginning of the year. I had enough to graduate then. Me and Sabrina dated for 2.5 years, and it ended in the winter of 2008 and kind of on and off until the springish. We met through, I first met her at the Cup of Joy, but she was someone that was at youth group, so that's how we kind of get to know each other a little more.
Was she in the same grade as you were?
I think she was a grade, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a grade under, a year difference at the time, I think. I don't remember.
So you didn't graduate at the same time with her?
No, I went to Schwabinau. She went to Pulaski.
Did you, when you dated her, you guys, you said broke up in the winter of 2008?
Yeah, that would be when the relationship pretty much ended, so.
But you said there was still some ongoing?
No, I was trying to see how to put this nicely, I guess. She's a person with a younger mindset that's very childish type of thing, and I'm a person that at certain points I just, if it's, I surround myself with people that are like me, that are like adults, and after we broke up, I don't need to be around you. So from that point on, 2000, when we were done dating, I had no interaction with her, and the few mutual friends we had, I stopped talking to them too, and I did not enter back into her life until it was 2013, I got wind of her stepdad dying, Dennis Solo, and he had cancer, and knowing how Sabrina has these tendencies to like lose friends because she tries to get friendship in the wrong way by if there's someone who doesn't like her or she doesn't like, she'll say stuff that's not true about them to get attention type of thing. So she didn't have a lot of friends, and her best friend Katie stopped hanging out with her. So knowing that she doesn't have anybody and that she doesn't get along with her mom really well, that I was, concerned that even though I don't like her because of how she is, I'm concerned about her well-being, that she's going to kill herself or some shit. Sorry.
Yeah, let me, and,
So,
yeah, and I'll let me redirect, so we can get to that, but, right, thank you, Your Honor. So, in 2009, you two go your separate ways, is that safe to say?
yeah, no interaction whatsoever, and mutual parties, that stopped too.
And it was because of her immaturity? She wasn't at the same maturity level as you?
Yeah.
And the people the mutual acquaintances that you two had, that you stopped spending time with those mutual acquaintances as well?
Yeah, two of them are in the audience right now.
And you didn't have any interaction with Sabrina until 2013?
Yeah.
And that was because you had some concerns about her father being sick?
And her not having anybody to go through that experience with.
So you were concerned, and it was because of her father.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I don't like to object normally to questioning because we want to get through this, but I'm going to object on leading continuously. That's happened.
There's only two other times. So.
Mr. Cayer, if you could just wait for the objection and my ruling on that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear the objection. I'm sorry.
Leading?
Leading.
All right, so I'll sustain the objection if you could just rephrase the question and then try to refrain from leading questions. Thank you.
You reached out to Sabrina in 2013. Why?
So I was concerned for her well-being, and then once I found out she was doing better because of her inheritance, I stopped talking to her. Never since spring of 2014 on, I have not seen Sabrina other than one encounter at Walmart randomly.
So after you knew she was doing better,
I'm like, I got very annoying. You do your life, I do my life.
So you said there was one other interaction. What was that interaction?
I was making a key for my place at Seymour, and the key machine is next to like one of the entrances to Walmart. So as I'm leaving, her and a group of people just spontaneously materialize her there. So, and I called her out for stuff she said, told her I was going to sue her, give her a chance to knock it off, and then I went to the other door. Like my car was parked over here. I went the other way to walk back.
So it wasn't an intentional contact?
No, she just popped up.
Is there anything else that you think that we need to know about your relationship with Sabrina?
Yeah, I guess like they mentioned like some views on how I view about this person, but that's not a reason to kill someone. Like you can hate your neighbor's dog for yapping all the time, and you want to pour some water on it maybe, but you don't want to see someone kick it. You don't want to see someone get run over.
Are you familiar with Heesun?
Yeah, that's her mom.
Did she have a nickname?
Yeah, Sunny
And what was Heesun's last name?
Teague.
And what did you call her?
Sunny.
When was talk a little bit about your relationship with Sunny.
She was cool. Like we were always good. Like, and when I popped back in her life to see how Dennis was doing and Sabrina was doing, she mentioned how she was going to. I asked if she would teach me how to make her egg roll stuff because she made like legitimate like Oriental food. It was pretty cool. So there was never anything wrong there, and you can. I guess you can even ask my past attorneys when they showed me the criminal complaints. Like I cried because I didn't know what the hell was going on. It's just like I couldn't read it because when you read it, you see her name first. So.
Did you ever have any issues with Sunny?
No.
Now, the other individual that you had contact with that evening was Joel.
Supposedly, there was a couple people there. I don't know who it was because I was just looking straight at her and made that commentary and then just left.
Before we get into the incidents that evening, before that evening, do you know who Joel Kennedy was?
No, I didn't know this till later upon reviewing the discovery. But in in his phone, I've seen a picture of which would have been one of his Facebook photos. I have seen that Facebook photo with the name Joel in the friends comments of the person that I'm having an issue with in my life.
But it's safe to say that you didn't.
No, other than that, I have no idea who dude was till this case happened. Like after the case was, that's the only other time memory-wise I've ever seen his name or picture, and I didn't come to that conclusion until I looked at the contents of his phone. I'm like, oh, he's best buddies with the dude who put heroin in my woman. So, who's not Sabrina?
I'm just going to ask you to slow down just a little bit for the sake of the court reporter and to make sure that we can all hear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake. Is it safe to say you didn't have any issues with Joel?
I didn't even know the dude existed.
Thank you for confirming that. Now, we talked a little bit about dinner, right?
About what?
We've talked a little bit about dinner with your folks.
Yes.
Let's progress. Eventually, what happens after dinner?
Upon recollection, when I was with the cops, my first memory is going towards my roommate's work, Sabrina Teague, because it's like not that far. She worked at a bar. You know, I was just chill with her, complain about the night, because we talk about everything in life, even no family matters and whatever. And wait till she's done and just, let's drive home. So that's where I'm going, but in the process I'm really, I'm like in and out type of thing. I'm tired as it is. Prior to this, I'm not eating, not sleeping. I guess it would be fair to say it's like sleep deprivation from my understanding. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life. Grandma just passed away recently. The woman that I'm in love with, who's not Sabrina, still alive today. She was getting used by a person named Dylan Gray, and he put heroin in her. And I've been doing everything in my power to try to prevent that.
Let's go back to from when you left your parents' house, to how you ended up at Sabrina's place. So you said that you jumped on your bike. Am I correct?
Yeah, I guess the pinpoint on the majority of that day before dinner, I'm like running on low fumes, I guess you would call it.
Why would you have gone to Sabrina Teague's place of employment?
Because then I could just sit there and complain about Dad and maybe have a few drinks, and when she's done with work, we just go home because I live with her.
Did she work at a bar?
I can't remember the name, but it's the one on it's the one connected to the casino, the country something.
So would it be unusual for you to go to this place and have a drink?
No, I've done it a few times. There's a couple times when I didn't have some cash, she would just spot me and I'll just pay her back later. She's the bartender.
And you said that, what did you say your plan was after you done having a few drinks there?
There was no plan. There was just, the plan was I was supposed to sleep at my parents' house until the next day to find where I was going. We just came back from grandma's and we're having dinner. So there's no plan to leave. It's just like, shit, what do I do?
So other than going to Sabrina Teague's place of employment to have a few drinks, why else would you have gone there?
To my roommate's place of employment. Like we're really close. Like we dated like a long time. Like before I dated Teague, I dated her actually, and she became like a sister, family member type of thing. Like she calls my mom. So it's, where else am I going right now? It's nighttime. I was supposed to stay at my parents' house. I'm bouncing around not because I don't have a true place, but because Dylan, that guy, made a warrant. So I can't be at your place of work. You can't be at your place that you live. So where am I supposed to go right now? I'm on a basis of trying to find out where to stay.
Would you have been able to spend the night at Sabrina Teague's place?
I lived with her, but because of the warrant that Dylan made falsely, I'm weary of being there until I was able to establish getting $2,000 for my attorney for a current pending case.
So what happens, and I think it's safe to say that you have, or do you have any recollection of going to her place of employment?
I have, no, I've talking to my family. When I saw my mom cry, that's basically when everything just falls away. I wake up in the hospital. really, really freaky. There's a lot of people looking at me like, and I don't know how to explain it, but they're wanting to know what the fuck's gonna come out of my mouth or something, staring at me. And then a while after, I start getting pieces of memory back. The majority of everything, though, it's hard to explain. It's basically silhouettes. It's black on like an extremely nothing black and gritty sand quality, whatever. As I'm getting memories back, there's very few glimpses of stuff. Like, I guess one good example is the bedroom. It's just a screen, the window screen.
Well, Jake, I don't mean to. Let's hold off because we're going to get there.
Okay, so there's no real memory. It's just.
So how did you get to Sabrina Teagues?
I couldn't tell you. Other than once I viewed through my discovery, that you find that the people that were Dylan's friends who have been up trying to assault me, attack me for a long time, did get me, did bring me there. You can see stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay. So.
When you left your parents' house, did you take anything with you?
Yeah, I chose one of my backpacks. I have like ones, anything that you, like camping, so like you needed any type of scenario, this is your backpack. The other one's clothes, the other one was food. And then there's also some like, as you all saw, like certain weaponry for self-protection, because like I said, I am being attacked by individuals with guns and knives. Because I called Dylan, I hacked his stuff actually. I put it out there, hey, this is you putting people on heroin, and that caused that. So I had that for protection.
So that was some of the stuff you had in your bag, like items for protection?
Yeah, some of the things that look concerning to all of you.
Explain some of those things.
I guess so. The zip. Let's go with the zip ties first, I guess, because like you all know, I had a warrant. You can't just go to the cops when you have a warrant. There are individuals that are threatening me, and there's evidence of that on my phone for months. So if these people are coming at you, what do? You can't go to anyone for it. All right, well, I got the firework there, Roman candles, sorry. Use that while it's chaos, detain them, leave, not Sabrina or anyone, the people who were in my life, who were attacking me in my life before this. Then you would go somewhere else, anonymously call the cops. All right, it's taken care of. That's the only plan I had with that. I have a gigantic knife, which is basically looks like a machete, because I don't own a gun. I don't really like guns. You got the metal glove. I was relinking because I had to think like, all right, if I get close enough on an encounter and these people, not the Teague family, what do you do when someone else has a knife that you don't know about? All right, you would catch that. Stop trying to prevent that. That's a thing in there. The carabiner hammer thing, that's a grapple. Me and when I was with my cousin, he lives up north. No one knows me up there. We had a little repo business type of thing. So there was a person that needed their Xbox back. I hanged out with those people. And at the nighttime, after everyone's passed out, my cousin used that to latch to a tree, climb up, and I gave him the Xbox. And so that way, that's what that was. That's just a prior thing. So
it's safe to say that the hammer has nothing to do with it was not a self-defense item? No,
that was just a cool grapple I made a long time ago for us to retrieve a stolen Xbox, because when people woke up, they're like, where is it? Like, I don't know. It's back with its owner.
You had a lot of items in your backpack, am I right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to specifically the items that were there for self-defense. You mentioned a few, but let's continue talking about some of those items that were for specifically self-defense.
The giant knife, the zip ties. So that way when I did encounter these people, detain them, call the cops from a different way so the warrant doesn't interject. The metal glove I was relinking, so that way I could be, in close encounter, catch a knife if necessary. It's been so long since I looked at that. I'm trying to remember what else was in there.
Well, in regards to the other items, there were items in there that weren't for self-defense?
There's clothes. There's hygiene stuff. There's my poncho in case it rains, in case it gets like rainy, because I can't stay at my place. you got food, you got tools. The tools are more because I've lived in Green Bay for a long time.
The items in your bag. So you had clothes. Help me understand again why you had the clothes in there. Was it because you didn't have a place to stay on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Okay. Hygiene items why would you have had hygiene items in there?
Why would I?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I don't like being gross. I'm a clean person. I would like there's a toothbrush in there, I think, too, if I remember right.
Did you have regular access to hygiene items given your living circumstances?
Not unless I brought it with me.
And then the last question, or the last thing you mentioned that you didn't explain that was in your bag was food. Why would you have had food in your backpack?
It's just a bunker bag. It's just a survival bag. I'm bouncing around. My next meal isn't guaranteed. My next shower is not guaranteed. My clothes being clean aren't guaranteed. Hence the tools to, if I can get over to the west side. What else am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to have that with me, or I should have it with me.
Was there a railroad spike in your bag?
Yeah.
Why did you have a railroad spike in your bag?
At one point when I was, I needed to find a place to stay because my phone's only working on Wi-Fi. I was at Sam's Club, Walmart, near it, using the Wi-Fi, and I got a hold of, I guess I'll keep his name out of the record, but it's the same person Darian shares his apartment with. He told me I could go over there, stay for a bit, find a place to stay. So going from where I was to his house, there's apparently now it's a walkway or it's a bike path, but there used to be a railroad there. And there's just a bunch of them out, and I'm like an artsy person, so I'm like, oh, cool, you can make this make whatever this, but I realized there's a bunch of them. Okay, now I could sell those to turn my freaking phone on. So I picked up enough to what I think would have been like $30 equivalent, and put in my backpack as I was going towards where I needed to access the Wi-Fi with Darian's other tenant apartment place. Should I put his name out there or no? Because I had more than the one. There was other ones. They just didn't happen to be that backpack.
So just to clarify, you were going to sell the railroad ties to make some money?
Yeah, it's iron. You can a couple of those. You can get like $40, $30. I would believe like at least 5 of them would be able to turn my phone on.
And the purpose was for your phone on?
Well, when I first saw the first one, I'm like, oh, this is cool because I collect weird shit. But then when I saw more, I'm like, oh, bet, cool. Yeah, sell that. Yeah, so yes, so.
Was there anything else in your bag that you think that we need to talk about?
Can I have like a piece of paper to recollect like all the things in there?
At this stage, no. So
Okay. Because I've been over 4 years. I've been more concerned with all the other stuff in the case. I don't really.
Then Jacob, if you don't think we need to talk about it, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really in there.
So let's go to what happened next. Something happened at Sabrina's. What happened at Sabrina's?
Are you asking from like the memory portion, or?
I'm asking for you to testify what's about.
I know absolutely jack crap. If you're asking from that point on, I have no memory. As far as later, I have memory, and then more memory after I went to the jail. So.
Yes, what you remember today. Let's talk about.
So after everything.
So let's start with the biking, for what you remember from the biking, and then let's go forward. What happened that evening?
So let's make sure I'm correct on this. After everything I've recollected and everything.
Yes, everything you remember as of today. Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. So after getting towards where my roommate works, before that, he was talking about I was listening to some music, Hollywood Undead, and a mix of emotions and stuff. And I'm absolutely freaking fed up with Dylan doing what he's doing to Wendy. I'm sick of the people he's had setting after me. I'm sick of trying to play nice with it. So I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go to his aunt's house. Because his aunt she don't know me, be like, hey, is Dylan there? You can come out, address the situation, not hurt anybody, but get, who are these people?
And just to help me understand, Wendy is an ex-girlfriend?
She is the one my ex-girlfriend, my recent ex-girlfriend. She is 9 years and a half, 13 days older than me. She's white. Not even the same thing as Sabrina.
And her new boyfriend is Dylan?
He used her.
Were they dating?
She lived with her father. Her brother was his best friend. He went there just for food, sex, party with him. And then when she tried to put child support on him because he was trash, she fucking woke up with heroin in her goddamn veins.
And it's safe to say you have some struggles with Dylan?
Yeah. Pretty much I will, dude.
So let's go back to what you recall as of today about what
So
happened that
going then I was so here listening to music, I'm like, screw it, like I'm gonna address this cockroach. So I go past, I'm going towards his aunt's house because the plan was like knock on it. Hey, is he there? Tell him I'm so and so. So I meet him over by the dumpster, figure out who the fuck these people are. Sorry, who are following me, threatening me with knives and guns and whatnot, who've been after me for a bit, and address that. But upon going that way, there is a vehicle. I still can't remember exactly what, if it's an SUV sedan. It's raining, it's dark. This is the 6th, mind you. It's white, light blue, something like that. It passes me, and about like three-ish houses down, you can start to see. It whips around like a freaking adolescent's driving it, comes back, and slows down a little bit before it gets to me. And there's something, I think it's a duffel bag that's thrown at me. I honestly can't tell you, but it felt like a duffel bag. It felt like some, I don't know, heavy random things in it. I'm knocked off my bike. I don't have any more recollection of that up until there's a part where I'm in a vehicle laying down, and there's someone just by my legs, not really even holding me down, just whatever. And there's either rain or a snare drum type of sound. I got nothing for you other than that. And then after that, there's I'm struggling with somebody, and this is in the kitchen of the Teagues residence. It's not Teague. It's not Joel. I have a small visual of what I'm being told in my description was Adam, I don't remember the last name right now, so I wrote it down, holding me down, and there's another person here. And then to my right, which would be by where the kitchen meets the bathroom thing, there's 2 pairs of feet along with 1 foot. So another part of the foot's out of my visual. And then the next one is the visual where I'm looking out. So there's cement, the driveway, portion of the car, and Sabrina's right in the foliage. And it's a visual of this, and a knife going up, which is exactly what I was seeing beforehand with talking to them, but more detail added to it. And from the angle of the arm going up, the person was is about the same height as her, same height to the person that I seen holding me. And that's that visual. And then there's it's hard to explain. Most of it's just more in-depth feeling, like sensory type of stuff, I guess you would call it. So it's not less. There's not a lot more visual. That's all pretty much that. There's more sounds here and there.
And
but there's nothing really of value.
And you can share with us what you heard, what you felt, what you smelled, what you tasted.
There's as far as the hearing part, the Sabrina part, saying to get out of the house. That's just to clarify confusion. That she doesn't mention the name of Jake in my audio intake is not in that same portion where I hear get out of the house. And if you see my statement, it's not me. It's saying I think she's saying something like this. So that audio is separate. It's not attached to a visual. The majority of my visuals, from when I was in the hospital, is the same as later on. It's just shadowy nothingness. And every once in a while, like a good example, like I was trying to tell you before, at the bedroom, there's a screen that the window screen pops in, and there's the wood paneling, but it's not a lot. It's like 2.5. So then off of that, and then hearing the disconjointed Sabrina's voice, and then the shadowy stuff that's around me, and a very strong feeling, a very strong memory feeling of something stronger, can't be than females, opposing me, and not me trying to do stuff, like something holding me down, is in that memory portion as well as elsewhere. That's the strongest memory portion I have, as well as I had to have been in a car type of thing.
Is there anything else that you remember before the hospital?
There's, other than what's in the statement, that memory hasn't really changed, but the visual is next to nothing. I'm going off of assumptions. I, honest to God, I know I have a lot of negative energy in me because of what Dylan's doing to me. My life falling to pieces, but it's not. There's no reason to direct it towards Sabrina. So I'm going off of the assumption, like, did I just fucking go nuts and I'm working? There's no reason for it. If I was, it would have been the people who are attacking my life. So I'm going off of those assumptions based on covered in fucking blood. There's cops in front of me.
And when you say that you're covered in blood, where were you when you were...
I'm at the hospital. I'm talking about, like, when I'm cuffed to the gurney.
Okay.
That's what I'm specifically talking about right now.
Do you think that there's anything else that we need to discuss or explain to the jury about what you recall today that happened at Sabrina's house?
Oh yeah, sorry. The between the house portion. Well, it's disconjointed. It's everywhere. But time frame wise, logical wise, it's between then and getting ganked. There's a visual of Panther Park. There's two entrances to Panther Park. There's an exit one where there's very specific tree line next to these yellow pillar things. A visual being moved backwards, and it's not like straight like this. It's like this. So there's that. I do know the people that I'm into it with. They do have a congregation in those areas. So that's.
You said the word gate. Can you tell me what that means?
Like a gate that prevents a car from entering the park. There's a specific name for it. I don't remember what it's called.
And maybe I misunderstood. I thought you said the word gate, like someone ganked you.
Yeah, I did say that.
Okay, can you explain to me what the word gate, when you use that in that sentence? Someone
the proper terminology would be abduction, but the terminology I'm using is when someone basically drives up and fucking just takes you away. So, well, they attack you, but they don't make it where you're bleeding all over the place. They just attack you, detain you, and wherever you're going. So,
is there anything else that we need to discuss about what happened, what you recall today that happened? And if not, we'll move on to the hospital.
I guess a little clarification about the feet washing. There's no memory of washing feet. There's memory of water on my feet. So it is just a feeling. There's no visual. There's no hearing. There's just a strong feeling of your feet are getting wet. And now I'm not talking about the bottom part. It's just like, I don't know what to tell you.
And at some point, you wake up in the hospital.
Yeah,
Tell me about you waking up in the hospital.
it was freaky.
Expand on that.
There's a K-9 guy right here. There's a nurse right here. There's like 2 or 3 other cops right here. And then they all kind of stop what they're doing. Like, there's conversation going here. Nurses messing with whatever materials. The K-9 guy's writing. And they all just kind of stop and, like, they're staring at me in, like, a way that's definitely not normal to stare at people. I don't know how to explain that. Like, they're, like, I guess the mindset of what I'm seeing in the demeanors might be like, okay, what's going to go on right now? And as I turn to my right, there's a cop about this far away with a phone, and he's like this close to his phone, and it's pointed at me, and I'm shocked, I'm scared, and then I start to realize there's like freaking blood all over me, and I'm trying to remember what's going on, and that's freaking me out because I have a really good memory. Actually, there's people that can show that I can word event to event, time frame for time frame type of stuff, and there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing other than I was with my parents, and then mom crying, and that's it for the moment.
So when you woke up in the hospital, you didn't know what you explained to us today?
No, I think you could also verify with whoever saw me come through at that time by my reaction that they'd be like, yeah, that matches up. This guy doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Is it so safe to say you're pretty confused?
Extremely confused, extremely scared, and I lost, I guess is a good way to put it.
So when you woke up and you had no idea what was going on, you were covered in blood and handcuffed to a gurney, what did you do?
I think the first words around stuff coming out of my mouth is basically like, what the fuck's going on type of shit. I tried to ask, there's this younger cop that was like right here, probably early 20s, like, what's going on? He asked me, like, who's Ike? Do you think he's okay? I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, you were saying something about Ike. Do you think you know who he is or if he's okay? I'm like, and after that point, because I just assumed there's a recording right here, I'm now wanting to know what's going on, so I'm asking about, is there a recording what's going on? I want to know what's going on. I'm asking them, where did I get picked up, begging them to tell me, and then begging them, please at least tell me I wasn't picked up in a Schwab because I didn't want it to be, I didn't know what the fuck's going on. I didn't want, obviously shit's bad, or something bad happened, I don't know what's going on, but I didn't want it to be my family, or well, my family, but my dad, because I know there's a lot of like a Jack in the Box, like, just like stuff's building up, and I'm like, what's going on? So they did tell me it wasn't there, and it wasn't picked up in Schwab. So I'm asking for these videos, like, what's going on? Because Ike was what I was going to name the kid I was supposed to have with Nicole if she was ever telling me the truth about that. So that's why I'm like, why the hell would a person ask me that? Because I don't talk about that. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 people I've ever known about that, so there's no reason for this person who I've never met in my life to ask me that. That put me through a really big shock, confusion thing, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Is it safe to say that early on you were trying to figure out what was going on?
Yeah, and you can see that throughout my statement, the part where it shows all the actual audio. You can see the whole time, a lot of the time that I'm trying to use logic to figure out what's going on, even to try to help them. Like, I guess in one part you see where, like, well, what hand? I'm like, I guess it would be right hand because I don't use my left hand, so it'll make sense for me trying to use logic as best as I can, going off of next to nothing visuals in my head, and what's going on right now. And I do have a lot of energy in me, but there's no reason for me to go snapping off of someone that's not in my life.
You were in the hospital for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many hours you were there for?
It honestly felt like it was like 4 or 5, going off of feeling-wise. The reports, I've gone through everything in my discovery. It's 10, it's a little over 10 hours. I want to say it's like 10 going to 40 minutes probably, or something like that.
So when you were confused, was that early on, or what point in the course of this interview were you confused?
Oh, since I woke up, or came through, I guess you'd say.
Was that the whole time, or was there a limited portion that you were confused?
I'm confused the whole time. After I'm coming to the assumption that there must have been a fight with Sabrina for whatever freaking reason. There's no reason. I'm like super still trying to figure it out because there's no reason for that. Like, why would you kill someone that you're basically almost ready to sue for money? You need money for your court. You need money for a car. You need your life back. What the hell? So I'm like, is there a conversation that went wrong? There was no plans to go over there right now to go talk about this. There's no, like, why the fuck am I there?
Did they ever tell you why you were there?
No, but there was off of process of elimination, being like, where did I get picked up? Okay, I'm not picked up in a Schwabenon, so no issue can happen with Dad, no issue can happen with Z, TJ, Dylan's mostly in that area at Windy. So all these people that have not picked up in a Schwabenon, so then who else do I know? Who else do I out of that area? Like, I know people in Seymour, I know people in here and this and that.
And you went through a process of elimination with the officers?
Not in that way. Based on what they're not telling me, and based on what is telling me, in the area that I'm not picked up, can't be these people that whatever got into conflict, if it be that. And I'm trying to help the cops because I'm not the dude looking for.
Did you ask them any questions? Law enforcement?
When the dude told me about Ike, which really threw me for a curveball there, I'm trying to be like, wait, it's the recordings, I want to know what's going on type of thing.
When you were trying to figure out what was going on, did you ask the law enforcement if you went to some different cities?
Yeah, that's part of the process of elimination, trying to be like, figure out I'm trying to help. And I really want to know.
And they told you some answers, like, for instance, you weren't in Appleton?
Yeah.
Did they say any other places that you weren't?
I don't have a lot of good memory with what's going on in that portion of the case because I have spent most of my time in cognitive ability and memory on other aspects in the case over the course of the 4 years, and also this is hell that I'm living through, so I don't...
That's fair. So. In regards to, I think you said that you said some pretty bizarre things that night?
Yeah, that was mentioned.
And you said, I think you already talked about Ike?
Yeah.
Help us understand who Ike is and why this is weird that you may have talked about it.
I thought we just covered that, actually, I think.
Let's go to the next topic, then, that may have... was there any conversation about a car crash?
Yeah, and after going through all this, it makes sense to me that if you see in the statement, I clearly have a really some type of strong memory or feeling to be in a car at least, and being surrounded, struggling with a stronger human being, and because I'm trying to figure out those key pieces because those are the biggest portions of memory that came back to me, and with what's going on, as would probably help. So,
was there any time at the hospital that you were convinced that you were in a car crash?
No. Well, the first part of it, I thought the cuts in my hand were glass cuts because with normal materials like a knife or something that's a blade, a cut will open a wound, kind of like that type of thing. But glass is, when it breaks, it's all curved. It's all curved and everything, so if you were to be cut by glass, the skin would be in like an odd format, and that's what I was assuming off of what I saw there. So I'm like, okay, glass. blood everywhere. I have some feeling, recollection of being in a car. Car crash. Without going through the window, glass everywhere. You know, that's where we're using logic, trying to be like, what's going on? That's where I'm going. That's where is bringing me.
Did they eventually tell you weren't in a car crash?
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I don't remember right now. So, but I want to say yes.
At some point, you realized you weren't in a car crash?
Like halfway through what's being said to me and what I'm going assuming based on what's around me. So.
In this process, when you were trying to figure out what was going on, did you ever suggest things to law enforcement to help them better understand what was going on as well?
That's it's in a weird way. So the majority of the statement, if you were to see the video stuff on it, you see a lot of the time as I'm sitting with that officer, I am like very spacey as it is, but like I'm having a deep thought about all this stuff will come to me slightly, and I'm like, whoa, whatever. You can hear in my voice, I'm not okay with what I'm seeing or what I'm perceiving with. There's parts where, I guess, like, you know, at one point you'll see the cops like, well, you said beat her up. And I reply back to him, no, I didn't say that. I said, I think so because you hear her voice. What the hell's going on? You saw the room. That's Sabrina's room. It's got to be. Okay, then why would there be blood everywhere? Okay, you beat someone up, maybe. What's going on? That's, I guess, how to answer that. So.
Did they ever repeat things back to you to help you?
Yeah, like that one thing. Like he's like, you said you beat her up, and then I was like, no, I didn't say that. So that would be a good example of that.
Was there ever time you asked law enforcement to look into some of your social media while you were there?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, like I said, I'm going off assumption. Okay, something happened. I'm assuming based on they're talking to me. I'm covered in blood. Okay, I must have like beat someone up or something. It don't make sense. It don't not make sense to be Sabrina for sure. Like I got some true enemies going on. So my social media, because of what was going on with Wendy, and no one wanted to give a shit about what Dylan was doing to her. And while I'm really irritated with stuff, like I'm not my happy-go-lucky hippie self. I made a timeline on what's going on for me till then to see, so people who actually did give a shit would have that, because I've got people who did care. I'm so sick of repeating, like, what's going on in your life. It's a lot of stuff. All right, document it here. You want to hear it? There it is. Giving it to the cops, why? That's the existence of it. Why give it to the cops is like, okay, something really stupid happened. So here's my life. This would be why there's a lot of energy in me that's not good. If that would have been the case, then there you go. You have an example of why the screen is loading. If that would have been the case at the time, I didn't know, but I didn't feel like repeating it again. So there you go.
So you thought that your social media could aid law enforcement?
I thought it would explain why that I'm really, really, really upset with my life. Why if that would be anything relevant to what's going on. So after today, or after going through the discovery and stuff, like, okay, I did get ganked. These aren't mine, I know that. In my heart then, I'm like, this cannot be case-wise now. I know you guys can't hide this. I'm going to give everything to the newsman.
But ultimately you gave Facebook, your social media information to law enforcement because you thought it would help.
It would speed that process up if that was something that would be relevant to this, because at the time I had no idea if what's going on or if I'm involved with it.
So is it safe to say that you were ultimately trying to better understand what happened?
Yeah, it's pretty clear and evident. After 10 hours of it, if people went through it, you would see that, yeah.
Was that the theme throughout the nights?
Yeah.
and throughout the entire length of your interaction with law enforcement at the hospital?
Yeah. And there's actually a bunch of times where the cop actually mentions, like, it's like, I can see you're a good guy because you give a shit, that you care about what's going on with other people other than yourself. And I'm like, we're just assuming position at the time.
Was anything you said to law enforcement a confession?
No. There was visuals on what I seen. I never mentioned that it was my arm. You know, at the end, like, for 10 hours straight, like, I'm like half aware of what they're saying because I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my mind. I'm concerned with what's going there. I don't know. It's abyssal nothing, basically. Freaked out. I'm tired. I've been through a lot of fucking crap. And I'm paying attention to that so I can figure out what's going on. So a lot of the times you can see throughout 10 hours, I'm not really aware of what truly responsive to what the cops are saying. You know, when Yankee asked, like, you know, did you see the knife? And she's mentioning and stuff like, oh, did you feel and this and that? I'm not paying attention to that. That's like someone who's tired. Hey, how was your day? And this and this. Oh, you gotta go do groceries. You gotta do this. You gotta yeah. That's like that. But I'm half asleep when I'm talking to her. 10 hours later, and God knows how long it's been going on before that.
So why did you say these things to law enforcement?
I'm trying to help based on the visuals. That's not my arm that I saw. Based on what I say and where she's at, where I'm at, I see. You see all that? I see cement, car, and her. She's like 8 feet away when I see her get stabbed. How am I seeing this garage cement if I'm not in the garage when she's by the freaking foliage when I see her get stabbed?
So were you trying to help law enforcement understand what you were recalling?
I'm trying to help that. I'm trying to help the whole situation. I have no fucking clue. Like, going through my history, I'm not a stupid individual. I don't like cops. I don't talk to them. Or see what the hell you see going on. Why am I trying to help? Not because of feel whatever, something happened, get off your chest. No, I'm like, what is going on?
So during that interview, did you ever confess to killing Sabrina?
No. And once I started seeing, well, basically the small visuals of what's going on, I'm getting the hunches, okay, that these people are dead. I'm crying. I like Sunny. Sabrina, yeah, she's annoying as crap, but she doesn't deserve to die. Like, what is this?
Did you ever confess to killing Sonny?
No, there's no confession whatsoever.
Did you ever confess to stabbing Joel?
No.
So you said something about sleep. Obviously, you were there for a lengthy time. Do you recall when you woke up the morning of the 6th?
I woke up on the 7th.
Before the incident, the morning before the incident.
Oh, before I talked to my family?
Yep, before dinner with your family, yes.
Yeah, I slept downstairs by the fireplace.
What time, do you recall what time you woke up that morning?
Jesus Christ.
And if you don't, that's okay.
I would say it's got to have been before 7, sometime before 7. No earlier than 4 for sure.
What time do you usually wake up in the morning?
It depends on what's going on in my life. If my job wise, or if I don't have a job, or if we got stuff to do, we got errands to run. It depends on life. So
7 is a safe assumption?
Normally, my life has always been adjusted to what's going on around me. So that's the way I'm going to say it.
Did you say?
But I guess so. You're saying basically that I got nothing to do, right? Is that what you're asking me? Then when would I wake up?
Did you take a nap before dinner with your folks?
No, I was when I woke up before Dad got home because I'm using the internet because I'm not living there. I'm just there for the moment because he agreed to let me stay because we just got back from Grandma's. I am working my ass off trying to get more information about the stuff that Dylan's doing because he's in ties with meth and heroin crap. And I'm trying to figure out who he's close ties with because it takes a while to hack stuff. It takes a while to get the information. And I'm trying to put a lot of that out there because dude's a fucking cockroach.
So is it safe to say you were awake all day?
Pretty much. Yeah, well, from when I woke up to that point, yes.
So now in the hospital, that was later in the evening of the 6th?
No, like there's 27 hours missing in my memory. Like after I left my family's house on the 6th, getting yanked through the night, I'm assuming that the Panther Park is an area where I'm being held around or whatever for a little bit until it rolls in the next day. It's kind of weird that, Joel conveniently comes home with Sabrina when Miss Teague is basically out of commission when they didn't live there for 2 weeks prior.
Do you remember leaving the hospital?
Like going from the hospital to the jail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know about what time that was?
I think it was rolling in the morning. Because I remember there was a lot of COs switching shift, I think. I don't really remember. I do remember when I got booked in, that the female booking me in, looking at me, and then looking at, oh wow, and then looks at the charges, and she looked at me and looked at the computer. She's like, "Do you even know why you're here?" I'm like, "No, why?" She's like, then she read it off, and I just spaced out. And then she looked at me again. She slowly turned around and talked to the other COs. And then they said, "We're going to sit you over here for a second." And then they had a couple, I don't remember who it was, there was 2 COs continuously asking me if I'm okay type of thing. And I know that's documented because I was irritated that it was that the nurse tried to document, like, it's saying there's, because it's in other reports, we're seeing shadow or whatever. I'm like, no, like I have no visual of what's going on in my memory. That's what. So I know there's a report verifying what I'm talking about when we say that.
Do you remember about what time you were booked into jail?
No, I can't give it again. No.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Yes.
So, Jake, I think you've said a couple times now that you've had the opportunity to review all of the evidence in this case.
Yeah.
And it's pretty extensive.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of evidence that you've had the opportunity to review was the audio and the video of your interview with law enforcement at the hospital.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that because I wanted to know what's going on. I knew there was a big thing that was being used in the case, and the audio sucks, but luckily I have experience with computers. I actually build networks, fix computers, and I've done audio board work, so I know how the equalizer works. I would listen to even like sentences over and over, moving around that stuff till I had it clear enough audio where a lot of that noise or stuff's gone, and then I would write down what's actually being said. I wrote in front of it, I write the number. So if you were to view in Windows Media Player or whatever, timestamp where it's being said, that number isn't put in front of it. So I wrote this all down on a page and showed where it was in the actual statement, and then I rewrote it, condensed it to like what was necessary because there's so much stuff going on.
So let's just focus specifically on the audio and the video of your interview with law enforcement at the hospital.
Yep.
You did indicate that you reviewed that.
Yeah, I made it clear clear version of it where it said the actual words, the time frame, and I gave the how to move the equalizer so you can hear it with the best quality.
So in addition to the actual audio, you reviewed the police reports that went along that is with it as well?
The police reports, I skimmed through what was necessary, I thought, and tried to remember what was main things, like how I'm physically inoperable, not able to commit a crime type of thing.
When you reviewed the audio and the video of your interview at the hospital, what did you do?
I studied it like if it was the SATs, or whatever you call it.
Did you take any notes?
Yeah, I studied it. I wrote down everything that was, I underlined everything that was concerned, went through it, listened to it multiple times, figured out the best quality, wrote down the exact word, who's saying it, cop, it says cop, or it says me. When both cops are talking to me, I just put the female sign for the Yankee and the male sign for the other dude. In front of it, I always put what time frame, because it's a condensed, the only concerning things, it's condensed. It's here and there I put like C page, whatever, referring to the original document, but at this point I can't remember if it was the page that I originally did my work on.
So is it safe to say that your notes?
It's exactly what's in there, exactly what's in that
So
statement.
it contains some of the transcripts, the exact verbiage?
It's the true verbiage of it.
But it's not just the transcript. There's other things there as well on your notes?
Everything that's in my statement is that. There's nothing else added to it.
And I apologize for not being more clear. You put the transcript in here, but you also put some of your own thoughts or opinions in this, in your notes.
I'm trying to remember if I did it with that one.
Like
No, not with that one. No, with that one you have there, that's just word for word. There's a parts where I leave out, with stuff that's not like cop talking about like, oh yeah, Taco Tuesday or whatever. Okay, that's put cop, he's talking. So leave out the words me when it's something that's relevant, really matters. So there's nothing of my opinion in that one, because my opinions on statements I pen in next to the two words. So there's none of my opinion in there.
Now, the notes that you took while reviewing some of this discovery, did you bring any of those with you for this trial?
Like before we did the trial?
Yes.
Yeah, I've given you guys a lot of stuff, and I asked you specifically to bring it so I could review it at the table, which I have been doing over the course of the trial.
And while you're doing that, did you put any sticky notes on some of your notes?
Yeah, so that way I went right on there, the sticky notes, hey, this part, cop leading, or here, this part, I'm explaining my visual, which is next to damn nothing. Here's a sticky note that says, okay, look, I'm trying to use logic. I'm going off of what I see here, very vague things, and the knowledge that I do have a lot of pent-up energy, and what the cop's doing. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm honest to God, true-heartedly trying to help figure out whatever. That's before I realized discovery materials later when I see that I did get abducted and did get brought there. So, yeah, I mentioned on the sticky notes, okay, what this little portion is. So you or Tony, when reading the sticky note, okay, this sentence right here pertains to this.
So you did this for our benefit?
Yeah, and for them to benefit, because it's a big choice you got to make. So you want to know what's going on, take a look. I try to make it as condensed as possible to what matters, because it's a 10-hour statement. It's like 20-some pages.
Exhibit 19. Can you tell me what that is?
Exactly what you're... Oh, sorry. Copy of what you're holding in your hand right there, which is the true transcribed version of my statement given at the hospital. It's got word for word, time frame, how to clean up the audio, and it's what the strong things we should be looking at versus all the little petty nothings. So.
Can you look over that and can you tell me if that's a true and accurate misrepresentation of what you created?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's, I noticed something, sorry. Yeah, this is it's a clearly, that you can see exactly what you see. It's not, like botched up with ink or whatnot. The commentary you mentioned of at the very end of the statement stuff with the circle things, those were notes for you, me using the same paper.
You said the last page, Dick?
Yeah, I forgot that I'm using the same paper.
So the last page isn't, and I think
Yeah,
that's...
after, when you see the female symbol and the male symbol, after that was for you to be like, hey, take a look at this, blah, blah, blah. Everything prior to that is the statement, transcribed.
Is it safe to say that that's why that does not have a number 8 in the top left corner, because it's not part of this packet?
Yeah, because I numbered all the pages. Yeah, that's accurate.
Jake, this is just 7 or 8 pages, 8 pages of your notes. Is there more than 8 pages that you've prepared during your...
For my transcribed everything?
For everything.
You got like bunker boxes of stuff, man.
Would you say it's dozens of pages, or hundreds of pages, or thousands of pages?
So notes-wise, not my discovery handed to me, but my notes
Yep, what you personally prepared while you reviewed your discovery.
throughout the years.
Yes.
That much stuff. If you stacked it all, it's got to be between here or here.
And you went through all of that stuff during the course of this trial the last few days.
The portion of it, because it's not all of it there, I know that, but the stuff that I've asked you guys to bring, which I've given you in the last year, that portion is here, and as the first day I was here, I was going through what we might go through, what's not going to be even showing up, so that's in there, and then over the course of the first day and a half, what we can use, might not be able to use based on the stuff they're all freaking hiding, condensed it from that part, and then once I was clear with what you guys were, what's going to be and what's not going to be in, they kind of condensed like, hey, here, in case we need to address this, and then there's all that was highlighting stuff, so, because you can't just sit there and read it, all that stuff, like here it pops out, that pops out, that pops out, why is this sticky note, what is that? And I've been going through that, and that's just, I would say maybe less than a third of everything that I've ever made.
And the pages that are in front of you, these are some of your most important concerns that you thought that we needed to address in regards to your interview with law enforcement at the hospital.
Yeah, because at the time, being who I am, the way I was raised as to be a human being, I'm concerned for what's going on here. And you can see it's not, I don't know type of thing, or it's not concern for me. And I really want to know, like, did I go nuts on something that don't make sense because I'm such a self-controlled individual and a composed individual for a lot of things, for when things need to be addressed towards who are causing things, yeah, I can patience, and then eventually, hey, this is what I got to say my 2 cents about. So that's been seen a lot lately and shown on the news because I've been here for 4 years. This case could have been done a long time ago, I believe it could have been done in 7 months, less, maybe between 6 and 7. Nothing was done up until he showed up in the case. Interviews, nothing was looked into. When we had stuff, when we were approved to have an investigation, when stuff started to show up, I talked about 3 years ago. About basically Sabrina having the same issues with the same people I have.
Mr. Cayer,
State's
give
going
me
to
one.
interject an objection.
We can move on, Your Honor.
Okay, I can move it out. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Yep, sorry.
So Jake, let's turn to Exhibit 19. Let's go through some of your issues, some of your concerns about your interview with law enforcement.
Yes, I'm trying to help them. This is something obviously people are going to see, so I would like them to be able to see actually what is said. I would like them to be able to hear what's actually being said, not what's being cookie cutter and doctored up for you to view by them. And I thought it was interesting that, like last time I had one of the first hearings I had with Cotton, there was supposed to be trial the last time trial was supposed to happen. You know, there was a mentioning on the record that if this statement got thrown out, they would have to adjourn trial. Why? So I figured that's something that would be really important to make sure it's clearly seen what's in there and clearly seen and heard. Clearly seen and heard.
So in regards to the interview, there was one of the issues that you wanted to. Jake, one of the reasons that we want to do this is because we don't want to have to play 10 hours of audio.
Yeah,
right?
You guys have been sitting here forever doing all this crap, coming here with COVID and these masks suck. Yeah, fuck, listen to the 10 hours. I'm sorry, that's just a straight word for that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we all understood why we're doing this. So one of the first things that we see here, you talk about some of the quality issues with the audio.
Yeah, there's like I said, I'm very familiar with computers. Unfortunately, on the very top here is a little teal sticky mark covering exactly how to place the equalizer so that it cuts out a lot of that and the clunky noises, and it alters octaves so you can either hear them higher or lower so you can hear what is being said. And throughout it, when necessary, when it needs to change so you can hear the audio while I mention it, how to fix that so you can hear what's being said clearly as possible.
So one of your concerns about the audio and the video is that you just can't be heard.
What's the point of giving in evidence if you can't understand what it is?
And at the same time that while sometimes you can be heard, it isn't the right octave or the right tone, I think you indicated.
It's not about it being the right octave or tone. It's about the background noise that I can't cut out. It needs to be different from that, either higher or lower, so you're not confusing what that is.
You also had some concerns about comments that you made being taken out of context, right?
Yeah, and then stuff that's not, because of the crappy audio.
And was one of your concerns about how much time elapsed between an answer or a question and an answer?
Yeah, I did put, sorry, there is those little note pieces, and let's start on the first top of the page. I do a key for it, like V means check out the voice, ST, spacing out through thought, SS, spacing out shock, CT, confused thought. So, because if you're going to make a decision on something, you should really have the whole contents of that. So I mentioned right there, like, pay attention to my demeanor, my voice, demeanor of me, like, what's coming out of here. This isn't me making up shit. Like, you can see that. So that's what that key is for.
And there was many places in here that you say that you were quiet or you were shocked or you were in disbelief.
Yeah, because they're like, honestly, if I was a juror, honestly, I wouldn't be like, oh, let's read this and review the clip 10 hours of it. I honestly, as a person, I wouldn't do that. So I would perceive, humans being humans. Let's make this short and sweet to what we can, so you can figure out what's going on here. So
you also noted some issues in here with things that were misunderstood by law enforcement when you compare it to what actually was said and what was in the report.
I think there's a mix of him misunderstanding stuff and him deliberately trying to act like he don't know what actually was said. Because there's parts that are cut out. There's a whole sentence of him cutting out stuff, and I say, arrow, see this, not in page 10.
Can you give us an example, the offhand?
Well, the one I was just saying right now, which is, yeah, hold on just a second. This one's just towards my character, what he says right there. It says.
And what page are you reading from?
Oh, I have to make sure this is the right part. This is on the gigantic paper. It says 3 in a circle. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You see about like a finger going down. There's a highlighted in yellow. It says this is not in page 10.
Yes.
And the arrow pointing up to it, and it starts with the word about, and it's slightly orange.
Yes.
Well, behind it really starts behind the teal sticky note, but it's I'm gonna word for word right here. This is the officer talking about yourself right now. You're worried about what happened to Sabrina. So, and then above that, it says you're not worried. So you can see that you're not worried about yourself. You're worried about Sabrina. That's on page 10 in that statement. That's a complete sentence cut out. So you can't tell me like, oh, you just missed this and this. That's a whole freaking sentence. So what else is,
I'll give you a moment to look through that. Tell me what concern you have next.
Okay. Well, throughout like almost everything that I'm speaking, there's the word like I think. Like for example, it says I think I beat Sabrina. And you got the just before that V, which stands for voice, quality, shock, belief.
Can you tell us what page on?
Oh, the first page. Then it says the number again. It says I think. Then the number. And then there's a note that says Sabrina was never beat up. So and then it's right here. So, yeah, you're right. While going on, guys, I got to correct. There are some comments in here that like, hey, take a look at this. There's a lot going on, so I didn't realize that at first. So yes, there is that. At this moment, this is assumption solely off the few things I'm currently aware of. That is underneath that. That is blue, underlying blue. Then it goes, I'm covered in blood. The cop's next to me. Sounds of I got sounds of Sabs, which is Sabrina's voice, and that I can't understand. So I understand I'm playing a rage. At this point, I have no clear visuals to assist in this assumption. So I'm going off of what does this look like? But like I said, there's no reason for me to go towards Sabrina. There's no reason for me to, if I were to like just snap out and look at things, she is way too far of a distance compared to Z, TJ, freaking Dylan, who I'm at war with. This is what's going on in my life. He put fucking heroin in my woman, and she don't fucking.
So why? So is that why that was important for you to write that, or is there another reason why that may have been important for you to write that?
I'm sorry, what?
You indicated, I believe you indicated why you wrote this. Was that why? Is that why that was important to you to write that, or is there another reason why this was important for you to point this out?
Yeah, because you really should know that why are these things coming out of my mouth? Is this an actual like, oh, we saw this like happen, or is this like during the course of where I got dragged somewhere, dropped it? Fucking, let's leave all that out. I'm sorry.
Let's go to
I have memory of visual stuff, and my subconscious grabbed that, and that's anyone Google how the subconscious works.
Let's go to your next concern.
Yeah. Hold on. Page 2, where there's the top pink sticky note, just near that.
Does that top sticky note say cop versus number 1?
Yep, and the reason I said number 1 was I thought this was number one clip that we could play, but we decided to save time that you just view this. It says the number, when you can see it, the number we're at is at in the audio. I say, I think. I didn't say I did. I'm assuming that what I'm assuming that's what I'm saying. Then it goes a question mark. Because I couldn't understand the word, it was too inaudible. So that's in response to the cop saying, you said you beat her up. So I'm going, so this is me in that same statement clarifying to the cop, no, I didn't, I think I didn't say, I'm assuming. You see this consistently throughout all of it. I think, I'm assuming. You get a couple things in here that says what my visuals are.
I think there's something similar. Is there something similar on the next line? Next line in red, I should say.
Next line, the blue or the same page?
I'm sorry. I should ask. What's your next concern about the audio of that you listened to about your interview?
There's parts where like I'm guessing if something were to be a knife or a blunt object based on feeling, doing motions, but that's not motions towards them though. It's like that's fending off what the fuck's going on. But I don't know what's going on. I have small memories on that, so you'll see that in there. I'm just trying to make this short. So can you give me a moment to just pick out what's?
All right. Since this was a document that you drafted and has your concerns, I don't want to direct you in a way. So let's take a look, and tell me if there's any other concerns you have about that you think the jury needs to hear.
I guess you'll see a lot that the cop mentions how, like, I'm not this type of person. There's a piece right here on page 3 that I'm looking at right now, actually, where it's you see the highlighted note for you guys, where it says, always worried about others, not the killer type, because you see me talking about, like, I hope that these individuals are okay, because there's something going on. There's the words underneath the yellow part. That's an opinion one, sorry. There was one more thing that I really wanted to speak on here. I just got to remember because there's a lot going on. Hold up. Oh yeah, I actually do clarify that to the cop right here about Sabrina's room.
Tell me where.
You see the bottom blue highlighted part with a bunch of stars?
On page 3?
Yeah. Trying to see where it starts. Underneath the green sticky note, I'm just going to read from there, I think. Yeah, it says me, so it says Sabrina's window. Then it says cop, and it's a squiggle because he's talking, and I'm just leaving it out right now. There's me and a squiggle. It's a distinct room. Cop is that, and it's kind of cut off by the sticky note, is that, I don't know what that says because it's covered up, is that is that how you would go in? That's what it says. How would you go in? Me, I got the V for voice, listen to it, it's like, I don't know, type of shit in the voice, you like, but then word for word there, window on ground, above it is a description of what I was seeing, screen, not window, but that's what I said window at the time. Window on ground, wood paneling in front of that, and that's my view right there. So that's me explaining that. So where am I getting where these words coming from? They're stemming from these next to nothing. So, but as we went through stuff, I was never, according to other time events, how am I in Sabrina's room getting surrounded? Unless I was brought there by not my means, not my will. And I'm waiting for, they're making me wait for when shit goes down, I guess, or whatever. So there's that.
Do you see any other concerns that you have about the audio that you reviewed regarding your interview with law enforcement at the hospital?
Yeah, right here, page 5, the first long blue highlighted part with some stars underneath 2 pink sticky notes. Do you see that? Page 5.
I'm looking at page 5, you said under two pink sticky notes, yes.
Okay, and then there's that blue line with the stars.
Yes.
So at 18.23 in the audio, I see a garage floor. I see her by the garage dropping, and that was before I saw more of that visual. Well, above that, I put a sticky note. Well, if I'm seeing the garage floor, I'm obviously still in the garage. Well, if Sabrina's in the grass, and later I see that same visual with more of it, and how the fuck am I stabbing her if she's 7, 8 feet away? And this is on spot out my mouth when I'm so discombobulated. That didn't change. So I guess that's the other main one. I'm just going to flip through real quick. I think that if people were to look at this, it's pretty self-explanatory with the rest of other stuff. It's all assumption of things. I think there's never me saying whatever. And when the cop a few times says, "Well, you said this," I'm like, "No, I didn't say that." So.
Was there any other explicit concerns about the audio that you think the jury needs to hear about?
Well, like some of those, I do know that I do remember in their copy, like I said, there's things that are missing, like where they say, "Well, he says this," well, I think, or I'm going off of this assumption, or here's my visual, or all that information that you have in the audio that's right here for you is cut out by them. Why? So, I don't know if it's something that should be looked at, and it shouldn't take that much time. So, and it just, people come to their own conclusion on that.
So is one of your concerns with law enforcement's report is that it's missing a lot of information?
Yeah.
Is one of your concerns with law enforcement's report that it is missing a lot of context?
Yes, and it's not like, "Hey, Jim, did you just throw a fucking hammer through my window? What's up with that?" "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." No, there's feeling, there's coming through with like certain vision. You can tell memory's starting to pop in. He mentioned stuff like that. It's literally.
Is one of your concerns about the police officer's report regarding your interview with him at the hospital that it doesn't show the pauses?
It doesn't show. If I were to sit in front of someone and see what he actually witnessed, like truthfully coming out of my mouth, how I'm acting, what's going on with me, you would know that, okay, yeah, I literally do not have any real memory here. Based on how the mind works, anyone can Google on that. You can see that, okay, why my memory is gone, why it's blocked. I could explain that too if you want, scientifically, which I know I'm not an expert, but you Google it, oh, truth, bam. You can't just read off a paper that's words and know what's going on there.
So, is there anything else that you think the jury needs to know about the interview with law enforcement at the hospital?
The reason I asked for it to be recorded is because, like I said before, I don't trust cops. Actually, when I am encountered with them, I shake because I'm scared that they get away with shooting me type of thing. Because I don't talk to them, and obviously, noting that I am handcuffed, people are staring at me, I am covered in blood. I'm not going to let a freaking cop misstrive or basically lie on this shit. So this is a bad situation. I don't know what's going on. You get that fucking audio right now so it's clear, so later on when there's lies going on, we can figure out what's going on. That's why I said record.
Is there anything else that you think the jury needs to know about specifically the audio clips that you took note of during your review of the discovery?
There was one thing I thought. I don't want to waste time here. I think it'd just be appropriate for them if they wish to take a look at that, then they can. It'd be quicker for everybody.
Your Honor, can you approach?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few more minutes before lunch break so we can finish the direct examination of Mr. Cayer, if you're okay with that. All right.
Jake, during your interview with law enforcement, did you ever mention that you had some issues with other people?
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
While I was incarcerated from March to December 10th of 2015, the person that I believe is my main soulmate, my ex, Wendy, she was used by Dylan. I'll just try to leave out last names. He knocked her out. There's stuff on Facebook I saw where, like, example, she would mention how he would demean her after sex and stupid shit, just being evil. Stuff I would see on his Facebook, I got word of it was true. He's a person that puts females on heroin.
So you had a concern with a gentleman by the name of Dylan?
Yeah, there's another case out there where...
Was there anyone else that you had concerns with?
His group, yeah, they were, after I tried to go to the bar to address him, why is she at home crying that you're not there, selling her sentimental guns, while you're out buying Taco Cat t-shirts, not giving a fuck about her or the kid, all this stuff. I called him out on it.
Your Honor, the state's going to object. We're not sure what the relevancy of this is.
Because I had people follow me, the same people she got into it with.
Mr. Cayer,
Sorry.
when there's an objection, I need to be able to rule on it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm going to sustain the objection, and you need to limit your answers to the questions that are asked, Mr. Cayer.
Yes, ma'am.
Jake, other than Dylan, was there anyone else that you had issues with in regards to the people you were referring to during your interview with law enforcement?
His group that he was associated with, these gangbanger wannabes.
Other than Dylan and his group, was there anyone else that you meant when you said you had issues with some people?
To my knowledge, in the group, the basis of it consists of Austin Green, Adam Brooker. Joel was wanting to be in the group. You can see this on the Facebook. You can see that.
At the time in the hospital,
I did mention that, actually. They played the clip yesterday when the cop asked me, like, what's going on with you? And I mentioned how, if you clear up the audio, I don't know where that is in here, because I don't think it's in this portion, that people, I say people, because there was, I said, with people coming up to me trying to stab me at a gas station. This is because I exposed him for putting heroin in her, and what he was doing, I was leaking it out there. And there's evidence of that in my phone that these people have followed me for a while.
During your interview with law enforcement, you also mentioned something about a psychiatrist.
Yeah, because I'm not random or it was like, well, something's gone down. I don't fucking know. I don't know if I care anymore. If I end up killing myself, that way my family would have some answers to what's going on with me. Because I'm not an individual that's fucking what the news has preached me as, I guess would be a good way to put it. So if I would rather be dead than incarcerated. I don't want to be in Mendota. I don't want to be in prison. All I've ever wanted was to have a family and kids in the same way I grew up.
So,
And I've worked my life for that. Now, if anything past 30, what's the point?
so if your sole purpose for sharing that was that your sole purpose of sharing that with law enforcement during your interview?
Yeah, in case it's time to pass away, die, then my family would know like, what's going on, because you got my Google Drive, my life, and then we'd have all this whatever. I didn't know what was going on at the time, so it just felt safe that at least that should be noted, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know at all what I'm going to jail for at the time.
What do you think the jury should know about your mental and emotional health?
Like now, or like right now.
That you're
Your Honor,
taking?
the state is going to object on relevancy in this part of the trial.
I'll sustain it, given the form of the question, if there's a different question.
How does your mental and emotional health relate to this incident?
Prior,
At the time of the incident, so back in
okay.
2016.
Got it. Because I acknowledge in myself that there is a lot of built-up stuff in my life falling to pieces. So maybe, so I'm like, okay, I'm covered in blood. Did I beat somebody up or whatever? Or something, or crash car. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I just know there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of kinetic energy in there. Is that why I am am I attached to a gurney covered in blood? I don't know that at the time. I acknowledge that there is a potency there. So I'm worried about that. That's a big part of the assumptions of what's going on with next to nothing visuals. So that way, there's a way to explain that. Not for NGI, but because people are like, I'm a happy-go-lucky, hippie, cognitive, very relaxed, carefree person. This isn't Jake. What happened to Jake? Where's Jake? That's what that's for. Because a lot of people in my life do like me. Heck, I'm in jail. Who goes in for a double homicide where the guards all, like, majority of them respect you and like you? Not off of fear, not off of turning up, but just being a normal, good person.
Let's switch our focus to what you've done since you've been accused of this crime.
I'm sorry.
Object on relevancy.
I would have to wonder what the relevance would be, Mr. Eichhoff.
I haven't asked a question, Judge, so I think if I go down this line, I think it'll be clear about...
I'll let you finish the question, and if Mr. Johnson wants to renew his objection at that point.
Thank you, Judge. Have you maintained your innocence since the beginning of this?
Yeah, I've even printed out a lot of my discovery, given it to people, tried to get them to upload it on the internet. I've multiple copies of what they're hiding. Me and Sabrina are into it with the same game punks, and Joel's part of that fucking shit. He's got psychotic killing shit in his phone. He's tried to stab people before. What?
I'm going to object.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's really irritating. I've been here 4 years. My apologies.
All right. Let's wait a second. I'm going to object on relevancy.
Who's they?
Well, I'm going to sustain the objection first, and then if you want to ask a different question.
You mentioned that you've maintained your innocence this whole time.
Yeah, I consistently say I don't want an NGI. I consistently didn't want to go to Mendota. There's documents of that, to keep it short. I've consistently said, if I'm convicted of this, fuck it, I might as well die. I've consistently talked about, I want to go through everything with 2020. If I go home, I'll put it up there myself. There's phone calls of this since years ago. There was me sending to my previous judge, hey, this is stuff that's not getting done. You know, why isn't this good? Someone sent her, hey, we're going to kill you before this. Go get it. Here's how to get it. It ain't coming from me.
Have you asked for everything to be tested?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, damn near everything.
Was it your wish to
Your
have
Honor, I'm
more?
going to continue to make my objections on relevancy. All these questions involve...
My innocence, that's the relevancy.
Jake?
I'm sorry.
I don't see the relevancy, Mr. Eichhoff. If you want to argue that or approach,
I'd like to approach her.
I think approaching would be appropriate.
Throughout this entire process, Jake, have you attempted to hide anything?
No, I've tried the opposite.
You had the opportunity, while you're sitting here on Monday morning, to hear Joel's testimony. Did you hear his testimony?
Yeah,
And you heard him say that that you had a knife?
I heard that.
And you heard him say that you stabbed Sabrina?
I heard him say that.
And you heard him say that you stabbed him as well?
I heard that.
How do you respond to that?
It doesn't make any logical sense on where he is stabbed or obtains these stabs compared to when he's in the hospital giving the statement. Not the cop. There's not a lot of stuff, the actual audio of him. It's really concerning to me why, if you were a person being stabbed, if someone's going to go slit someone's throat, someone's going to beat someone to death, why with the third person would you just poke and let him get up because he doesn't want to ask the cops how he got uncornered? Eventually he says struggled. That does not match up with the blood there. That cut will heal. That will not cause any issues. Why would you avoid that question? I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3" height. The knife is like as long as this pretty much. If I was standing, can I stand to give an example? Yeah. If someone's cornered, and I stand, if this was me standing, have you seen how tall he was? There's no way for his reach to deflect this. It would go through his heart completely. There's no reason for this. It is to stop. Why would you avoid that answer? Like, in the video, when he's avoiding this answer from the cops multiple times, he gets nervous. You see it. And it says he struggled? No, that's consistent with, okay, you got poked, you get up and move. Why? And then change your story later. And have a fan page according to her family friends.
Was his injury self-inflicted?
It could be. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't have visual. But could it be? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Who's going to question me? Oh.
Jake, did you stab Joel?
No.
Did you kill Sabrina?
No.
Did you kill Sonny?
No.
Did you review all the evidence in this case?
Did I review all the evidence?
The evidence, yes.
Yes, I've been trying to get it to go up online. I've given it to multiple people.
Have you studied it very closely?
Yeah.
Why do you believe that you're being falsely accused?
See again? He can testify to what happened, what he remembers, but now he's starting to make his own conclusions and almost like going to make a closing argument.
And it seems to call for speculation.
Oh, it definitely does.
So I'm going to sustain the objection for all of those reasons.
Okay.
Judge, we don't have any further questions.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our lunch break at this time, so I'm going to remind you once again not to discuss the case with anyone or to do any research. We're going to take an hour for lunch so that we have enough time for everybody. I was told yesterday some of the parties didn't even get a chance to eat by the time we finished some of our legal things. So we'll come back about 10 to 2. Please stand for the jury. Please be seated. All right, I just want to make a brief record. We had 3 sidebars. 2 were just to discuss the schedule. The third one was the issue about the objection was relevancy, but there was a question, and the answer was Mr. Cayer indicating that he was asking for everything to be tested, and the state's concern was that there's an implication that materials that have been requested to be tested may not have been when that's not the case. And The state was also indicating that the defense certainly had the ability to have anything they wanted tested. They had full access to all the evidence. Anything else you want to put on the record in that regard, Mr. Lassay?
No, I think the court's accurately summarized that.
All right. Mr. Cotton?
I think that covers it.
Is there anything that either party is asking to happen as a result of that sidebar?
No, Your Honor. Not at this time. I think that to the extent we want to, I want to consider whether Mr. Johnson wants to address that. But, you know, the other concern obviously is the implication that his attorneys haven't done what he wanted, which then, of course, opens up the question about their effectiveness. But frankly, in our view, it's not their effectiveness. It's their logical reasoning and making strategic reasons not to have things tested. So I'd rather probably just leave it where it is, but I didn't want it to go further.
Okay. Mr. Cotton, anything else you'd like to address?
No.
All right, we'll see y'all back at 1:50.
We'll be back a little bit before that, but we